Welcome, everybody, and hello. We are talking today about the feeling of isolation, the feeling of other people's judgment, the feeling of being sort of the lone wolf.
Yes.
Or a little bonkers, shall we say. And all of that jazz when you decide to take the road less traveled. Whether that's because you have a corporate job that you want to get out of, or you're in a clinical practice and you want to totally move online, or, you know, everyone that you associate with in your life is like an employee, 9 to 5, stable job, never took a risk, never, you know, wanted more for themselves, more for their life, like ho hum, all of that kind of stuff. And there you are, like this purple duck, you know, over in the corner being like, there must be more to life than this. I want to be rich. Like, I want to fly first class and like not have to worry and like have multiple properties and like have massive impact in a book deal and be on TV and like, you know, I was made for more kind of thing. Like, don't tell anyone, right? Because they're going to say, be happy with what you got. You can fuck right off. Right? Like, that's like what I want. That's like my response. Like, be happy with what you got. And also, more, please.
Yes.
More, please.
Yes.
Right. So that's really what we're talking about today. It's this feeling of isolation. It's this feeling of, am I bonkers? Is there some, like, should I be doing this? Is there something wrong with me? Why aren't I satisfied with, you know, small, ho-hum, regular, normal, settle? Nope, this is life. I'm good. Paid check. Thank you. Like 2 weeks vacay. You know, I know where I'm going to be in 10 years. Very safe, very stable. Why doesn't that feel satisfying to some of us? Right? Like, that does not feel satisfying to me. That feels very unsatisfying, actually. It's like terrifying. The opposite of satisfying. It's terrifying. Yeah, like that feels more terrifying than the risks of being an entrepreneur.
Like sweating as you're talking about it.
Like, and also, you know, and again, no disrespect. Like, no disrespect, but, you know, for those of us who are sort of in this camp of, let me see how far I can push my life. Right? That feels isolating. That feels isolating. And oh my gosh, there's so many directions that this conversation can go in. And also, let's talk about for a second, once you actually have a growth mindset, how hard it is to live in the world. Let's talk about that for a sec. Because we talk about this in our programs, specifically in our mastermind, where we're working with women who have, you know, 6-figure, multi-6-figure, 7-figure businesses. And we are really challenging their mindset, like really, really, really like challenging their mindsets. And then it gets to a point where you're so self-aware and your emotional intelligence is like on another level that it does. And like, we call, you know, the like muggles, like you have to go and like live in the muggle world. And it's a really hard thing to do, because also your tolerance for muggleness and the like fixed mindsetness is like itty bitty.
You walk around in your head just incredulously, I want to say. Listening to the things that people say about, oh, I can't do that, or I can't afford that, or that doesn't make sense for me, or I can't do this. And all you want to do is open. You have like this very fine line of a choice where it's like, you want to educate everybody. And I think this is where some of the isolation and like the loneliness comes in, because you want to be like, oh my gosh, but you don't understand. You have to think about it this way and this way. And why don't you ask yourself this question and this question? And for somebody who isn't in a growth mindset, for somebody who is in a fixed mindset and lives in a very constructed world that is outside of the world you construct, that doesn't help them. And it ends up creating this canyon between you and the person and all the people, where it's like you're speaking different languages to each other now.
Yes. And let us know in the comments if you experience this, if you are finding it increasingly difficult to live in the real world.
Yeah.
And if you feel isolated or if you feel alone. And so I remember back in the day when I was growing my nutrition practice, and we were in multiple locations, and I was working in a really prominent doctor's office. And this was before I went online, and this was before masterminds, and this was before all of it. Mm-hmm. And I remember even before my signature program took off, actually at the very beginning when I was still in the chiropractic clinic, I would get together once a month with these women who I went to nutrition school with. This was like right at the beginning. And we would, bring our very healthy, potluck dishes. And all of that good stuff. And we would congregate around a table and we would complain. And we would complain about how hard it was, and we would complain, and we would, misery loves company type of thing. Totally. Yep. And we would do that. And that felt really cathartic. That felt like, okay, like I'm not the only one, I must not be doing, it all wrong if these other women are also struggling to the degree that I'm struggling. And that felt really calming. And then when I started to step outside of the practice box that we were all taught and created my signature program and started to sort of elevate myself and my practice, I no longer resonated with that misery loves company mindset, because I was taking the steps that felt wildly uncomfortable for me. There was no proof of concept. There was no sort of guarantee that anything that I was trying was going to work. And yet that felt like the right thing to do at the time, to like take those steps to create this program, because what I was doing was not working. And so something had to be better than what I I'm looking for something like you could, like I was already failing. So what's like, it doesn't hurt to try kind of thing, right? Totally. Like it doesn't hurt to try.
Yep.
And so then when I would go back and I would say like, this is what I'm doing, well, why are you doing it like that? That's not how we were taught. Like, you can't really do that. And I was like, why not? Like, why can't I do that? Like, who says? And I didn't realize then, but that's part of having a growth mindset. It's opening up to this idea that you learn through effort, you learn through trying, you learn through failure. And versus those people who would say, well, you can't do that because that's not how we were taught. And you know, how do you know you can do that? And how do you know it's going to work? And what if it doesn't? Like, none of those questions really ever entered my mind. It was like, well, this isn't working, so let's just go try a whole bunch of things and something's bound to turn up. Like, right?
Yes.
So very soon I didn't resonate with those women anymore, or really I started to sort of separate myself away, and it does feel lonely.
Yeah, it does. But there are also, I think, and we've talked about this, there are things that you can do, choices that you can make, decisions that can be had that allow you to choose to feel a different way. And I think part of feeling isolated and lonely is expecting the wrong things from the wrong people, right? Because if you expect people who are in a completely different place than you and who have a completely different mindset and who have no understanding of what you do, what your goals are, what, all of the things you're going through, if you expect them to be able to be on the same, what is like plane base camp, we'll go back to the mountain. If you expect them to sit at the same base camp, you're going to be disappointed, and that's on you at that point, because it's not their fault. They're entitled to their own life choices and goals and aspirations and like vertical, right? Yeah. And so if you expect somebody in this vertical climbing this mountain to be in the base camp that you're in climbing this mountain, and when they're not, you get disappointed and feel isolated, and you forget to look around to the people who are at the same base camp as you, it's going to feel not good.
Right. And, there's the quote that says, your success is the sum of the 5 people that you most hang around with. And that is so true. And when I first heard that, it was 2012. It was March of 2012. And I was sitting in a room in my first ever, conference that exposed me to this world of online marketing and online sales and just like having an online business. And they were talking about this concept of entrepreneurship and of starting and growing your own business, that it is the most confronting thing, because your business and will only grow as much as you can conceive of it to grow.
Yes.
And so you better be careful who you share your vision with and who you surround yourself with, because if you're surrounding yourself with naysayers and scarcity-minded people, then that is going to cause you to constantly self-criticism and judgment and all of that of yourself. And it's not going to put you in the right vibe to be able to grow. And so how you avoid feeling, I would say, as isolated as possible, because I want to say something before we sort of end this, how you avoid that is by seeking out like-minded and like-hearted and like vision-oriented people.
Yep.
And you connect with them and you recognize that there's a place for your muggle friends and your muggle family.
Yeah.
And they serve a purpose in your life and you love them and all of that jazz. But you don't need to talk to them about your business. They don't need to support you. They don't need to cheerlead for you. They don't even need to know what you do. That's not their purpose. That's not the contract that you have with them.
Nope.
Right? That's not the relationship that you have with them. And so then you have your entrepreneur friends and your entrepreneur sort of inner circle.
Yep.
Where they can rally with you and support you and cheerlead and understand the truth of what really goes on behind the Instagram stories and, the shiny sales pages and all of that stuff. And you can talk about the highs and the lows, and we create community for that specific reason in the 10K online success system, in the online growth accelerator, in our mastermind. We're having these types of conversations. We initiate these types of conversations because we know that it's unlikely that you can have them with anyone else. Because they just don't understand. And so if you're feeling isolated, it's likely because you haven't invested financially, emotionally in seeking out communities that are created with the like-minded and like-hearted and like vision-oriented people. And even within those communities, there's a disparity between like the uber growth minded and the like people that need to catch up. And there's still the disparity.
And there always will be. And I think what's really cool is once you do that, once you find, and again, wherever you fall in the continuum of that disparity, right? That's cool because you can find that like-minded group, like-hearted, like vision, but then you're actually able to take the pressure off of the other people in your life and the expectations, and you can actually enjoy relationships with them again. You don't have to not be friends with them. And I think that's a really important piece too, because a lot of new to business practitioners, entrepreneurs feel this guilt and this heaviness of like having to sever these relationships. And that's not what's necessary. It's taking that piece out of it. Like, I still have friends from high school. They have no idea what I do. No idea. That's okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
My best friend of 20 years, the woman whose couch bed room I slept in every other week for the first year after I separated so that I wouldn't have to be alone.
Yep.
If you met her, like, she'd be like, yeah, she has an online company and she's really successful. But if you asked her to really tell you what I did, she would not be able to. We don't talk about it.
No.
We talk about feelings like that I'm, feeling X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
About the pressure, the whatever. But like, she's not the person that I go to for that kind of stuff. Like, I have other CEOs that are at that level, and I also have a therapist. So let's just be clear. Let's talk about the role of a therapist.
Yes, that's a good point.
Because if you were looking to any other human being other than a therapist of some kind to be your personal support person and to help you process through every single thing, that's going to get real tired real fast. Nobody wants to be that person except your therapist. Right?
Yes.
Because there are so many things. Growing a business is the most confronting thing. It is the most confronting thing, especially when when you reach for breaking through upper limits. If your goal in life is to break through upper limits.
Yes.
Which it should be. What else are you, like, honestly, like, what else are you doing? Right? Like, the goal is you use the vehicle as a way to break through your own upper level limit problems. That, like, please, right?
Yes.
And so if that's true, then you should absolutely have a therapist on speed dial. You should not be using your friends for that. No. Or your husband or your wife or your mother or your neighbor. No one should be that person for you except your therapist.
Maybe your dog.
I feel like not even. What do you want to give your dog all that energy for? Like, that's not even fair to the dog. But right?
Solid. Yeah. Really important.
Your therapist serves the purpose to help you process. Now, that's not to say that you can't have friends and family like cheer for you and like, yay, good job. But don't expect them to like give a shit about every little milestone and every little thing. They don't care. They don't know. They don't understand.
Yep.
And it gets tired after a while. Like, also, what do you want to be that person for?
No, you
right?
don't. You
don't be that person.
Nope.
And so it's really important that you immerse yourself in a community of like-minded, like vision-oriented people that understand what it means to make your first sale, that understands what it means to take a bath and make thousands of dollars at the same time.
Yes.
Right? That understands what it means when, you've had your X number of person no show for the day.
Yes.
And how frustrating that is.
Yes.
Or how overwhelming it is to navigate thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of profit. Like, what do you do with it? Right?
Yeah.
Let me talk to you about that. Who do you call when you just made $100,000? Because you can't call your neighbor.
No.
Who are you calling? Right?
Yeah.
You need your people.
Really good. You need your people.
Right? You need your people. My favorite days are when our clients / friends message me, and it's happened quite a bit lately, where it's like, I have no one else to tell.
Yeah.
But I just need to tell someone that I literally just made $100,000 in 30 days.
Yeah.
And then we do a little celebration, because you can't just tell the muggles that.
Yep.
Right? So how you stop from feeling isolated is you create your inner circle of trust.
Yep.
And you pay a therapist.
Yes. You sure do. That's it.
Right? That's the only way, because I promise you, there's going to come a point where you're going to be successful past the point where the muggles of the world will start to look at you like okay, great, good for you.
Yes.
Also, stop bragging.
Yes.
Also, my life sucks. Why are you telling me this?
Yes.
And it starts to feel really uncomfortable. So don't use your outside friends for that level of support.
Yes.
You have to surround yourself. Again, your success is determined by the 5 people that you spend the majority of your time with, because either they're going to pull you down or they're going to pull you up. And that's how it goes. And that's how it goes. Yeah. You can't just tell the muggles that. It's so true.
Yes.
Yeah. Heather's saying, I've learned a lot about who my friends are in this year in the midst of all the crazy, but I also have come to realize exactly what you were saying. Different groups serve different purposes. And here's something. CEO to CEO, entrepreneur to entrepreneur, we're a different breed. We're just a different kind of breed. And the faster that you respectfully accept the categories of friendships and family and all of these things and release the expectation, the happier you will be. And you will just accept and love the friendships and the family members for who they are and what they can bring to your life. And you enjoy your time with them and you don't feel resentful. And then you can go over here and be with your ambitious AF friends. And talk about making money and talk about your vision and your big dreams and goals. And they're like, that's such a sick idea. I hope you go for it. Let me know what you need. Do it. What do you mean you're not doing it? Stop being dumb. Don't be dumb. Go. Do it. Do it. It's good. Go. Versus, why would you ever do that? Don't risk that. It's not a good economy. It's not a good economy.
No.
And that's the difference. Right? Yes. Yes, Sarah, you better message me when you make $100,000 in 30 days. Yes, you can. Yes, it's an open invitation.
Everybody.
Yeah, but like it makes who do you tell? Who do you tell? Right? Because it really does matter. Like when I made $1 million, it's like you can't just go tell the moms at the pickup line at school that you just made $1 million.
No.
They're going to be like, are you a drug dealer?
Yeah.
What do you do?
What happens during your day?
Right. You stay at home with all the cameras. Although people used to think I did porn.
Totally.
For another day. We hope this was helpful. There's so many facets to this in terms of all of the feelings and energies that we all navigate to get to that level, and really starting to understand relationships and what you need and what you can leave behind, like the energy of others that is not in service to you reaching your goals needs to be released. In a respectful way. And sometimes that means literally cutting people out of your life, or sometimes that means reevaluating your relationship to them. You don't need to have a conversation with them about it. This isn't something where you're going to be like, okay, Sally, I'm a growth-minded person and you are a fixed-minded person, and therefore we are going to have this type of friendship. You don't need to have a conversation with them about it.
No, they'll never notice.
They'll never notice. You just need to adjust yourself. Just adjust yourself.
Yes.
Right? Adjust yourself and love them for who they are and release the judgment of them. Right?
Yeah.
And the expectation on them, and just be. Just when you're with them, just be. And then come over here, come into our Facebook group, share your stories with us, and know that there are the people that are going to push you to make $100,000 in 30 days. If that's what you so desire, which you should.
Please do desire that.
Please. We gotta go.
We do gotta go.
There's work that needs to be done today, y'all. This was fun. We'll be back again tomorrow. Same time, same place. Bye.
Bye.